All right, now this is going to be our first set of questions for economic. All right, what is the main reason that the U.S. imposes tariffs on imports? Okay, tariffs are a tax on anything that somebody wants to import into our country. Okay, and by imposing tariffs, they're driving up the price of that imported good. So the main reason is it's going to decrease the competition for our American companies. In other words, it's going to make it easier for them to compete because they're making the foreign products cost more money. Okay, so it's going to be A, to protect American producers. Number two, in the U.S. economy, one purpose of the government is to do what? So, what does our government do? Our government, let's just look at the answer here. A, establish prices for most goods and services. Our government doesn't do that. Okay, so let's get rid of that. B, determine the number of people that a company can hire. Again, our government doesn't do that, so we get rid of that. C, determine what goods will be produced by the largest businesses. Our government doesn't do that either. People buy what they want to buy. D, establishes rules and regulations that allow businesses to compete fairly. That's what they do. They regulate. This can be D. Number three, in the U.S. economy, who has the greatest influence on the quantity of goods and services that are available? So, who makes the decisions what's going to be produced and how much? Okay, the answer to this one, it's going to be simple. In our economy, it's consumers. Consumers make the decision by choosing what they're going to buy. Ford can decide to produce as many trucks as it wants, but if consumers aren't buying them, Ford's going to lose money and they'll stop doing it. Ultimately, the consumers are the ones that have the power. Number four, antitrust laws designed to prevent monopolies in the United States would most likely be implemented in which situation described below? Okay, so a monopoly where one person or one company takes over an entire industry. Okay, so A, several steel factories lay off employees in order to increase profits. No, it's several different factories. It has nothing to do with taking over the market. B, a small company sells products or services under contract to a larger company. No, that's just one company working for another. C, a national bank buys up most smaller banks within a geographic region. So you have a big bank that starts buying up all the local banks. That makes sense. D, newspaper workers go on strike when contract. Okay, this is talking about workers going on strike. It has nothing to do with creating a monopoly. It's going to be C. In this case, it's horizontal integration where one company goes in and buys up all of its competitors, and pretty soon they control the whole market. Number five, in the 1970s, the U.S. imposed a tariff or tax on cars made in Japan that were shipped to the United States and sold. The amount of money charged for the tariff increased costs, making the price of the Japanese cars go up. Which of the following is the most likely reason that the U.S. government imposed a tariff? Go back to our first question on this. You imposed tariffs to make foreign products cost more and enable the U.S. companies to compete a little bit better. So it's going to be C, to protect American car makers from Japanese competition. Number six, if the United States, or if the members of the Federal Reserve Board believed that the U.S. economy was entering a period of recession, which of the following actions would they most likely consider? Okay, recession means our economy is slowing down. Well, if the economy is slowing down, they're going to want to increase the amount of money that's in circulation, and one of the ways that they do this is by lowering interest rates. Now, when you lower interest rates, it makes it easier for people to borrow money and more makes them more willing to borrow money. Not only that, lowering interest rates means that if you're saving a bunch of your money, you're not going to be making as big a return on it as you normally would. So it gives you more incentive to, instead of save money, invest the money. Okay, so the answer on this one is going to be B, lowering interest rates. All right, number seven, use the flow chart to answer the following question. This flowchart shows the interaction among the three sectors of the U.S. economy. So these are households, businesses, and government. Where do consumer purchases best fit on the diagram? All right, consumer purchases. So that's something that a consumer, that'd be part of the household, buys, okay? So who are they going to pay to? Okay, they're not going to buy something from the government. They're going to buy it from a business. So this is going to be the labor payments to a business, okay? So it's going to be A. All right, number seven, use the line graph below to answer the following questions. All right, the first line to the left represents expenditures. All right, so that's what was spent. All right, the line a little bit further to the right represents receipts. In other words, what was brought in. If you notice, expenditures are higher than receipts. This creates a budget deficit. Now, a long-term budget deficit means that we're going to have a debt. Okay, so if for long enough you have more money going out than what's coming in, it's going to create debt. So that's going to be A, national debt. All right, number 9, the political cartoon below. Use the political cartoon below to answer the question. What is the salesperson implying when he says, "Would you like to see an American car made in Canada, an American car made in Mexico, or a Japanese car made in Ohio?" Okay, and the trick here is, I mean, if you look, let's look at the answers. A, sales of foreign model cars have increased rapidly in the United States. They might have, but that's not what the answer is. B, with a global economy, there's no clear difference between what is American and what is foreign. Let's hold on to that one. C, companies in the United States are losing money due to foreign competition. Again, this is probably true, but it's not the answer. D, with a global economy, large numbers of workers are moving to foreign countries to make cars. No, that's not really the case either. All right, it's going to be B. With the global economy, you know, currently, I think my last 5 vehicles that I've owned, when I looked up the VIN number, they were all produced in Mexico, and that's including, you know, 2 Chevrolets, a Dodge, a Honda, and a Toyota. So it's really hard to tell, where something is made now. Number 10. What is the direct result of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, of 1983? Now, NAFTA basically said that we would not tax anything coming in from Mexico or Canada, and they wouldn't tax our stuff either. Sounds like a great plan until you start realizing that under NAFTA, the cars that Ford was making in Detroit and paying UAW workers almost $30 an hour to produce can now be made in Mexico, to where they can pay these people almost $30 a day to produce the same cars and shipped across the border, and they don't have to pay any extra for it. Okay, so let's see here. The big thing with this one, with NAFTA, it's been a major increase in trade between Mexico and the U.S. All right, number 11. Which of these is an economic benefit of tariffs on goods imported into the United States? So, again, this is an economic benefit of tariffs. Okay, remember, tariffs are meant to, limit competition and help American products. So is it A, prices of goods in the U.S. will decrease? No, they won't. As a matter of fact, they'll go up. B, the United States will attract more imports into the country? Not if you're charging tariffs. C, businesses in the U.S. will have less competition from foreign manufacturers. That's what it is right there. 12. The U.S. stops trading with the country because it's reported evidence that the government of the country mistreats its citizens. Which foreign policy tool is the United States government using in this situation? Okay, this is going to be an economic sanction. Economic sanction was basically, we have a problem with something you're doing, so because of that, we're not going to do business with you. Number 13. Look at the cartoon below, then answer the question following it. The problem illustrated in the cartoon is most harmful to which of these groups? Well, first of all, let's look at the cartoon and see what they're talking about. And it states it right there on the beginning. That's Uncle Sam right there, and he's trying to trim something back. And what he's trying to trim back is actually inflation. So who does that hurt? Okay, inflation is causing prices to steadily go up, but theoretically, if you have rapid inflation, or just inflation in general, eventually wages should be part of that inflation. And if you're still working, your pay should go up somewhat commiserately. The problem is people on fixed incomes, people that are retired, people that are drawing a pension, people who can't get a raise anymore. They're the ones that are really, really going to be hurt by inflation. So it's going to be A. Number 14. With which of these government actions is the Consumer Price Index most associated? The Consumer Price Index is just a way to figure out how much your dollar is actually worth, and it's compared to historical measurements. The big thing is it's a way to measure the rate of inflation. Okay, just because you made, there have been times in my life where I made technically less money, but I probably had a better standard of living because things cost less money. All right, number 15. Which of these would most likely result in Congress if Congress increased the minimum wage? All right, let's just do a little formulative thinking here. If you increase minimum wage, that means the workers, and let's just use McDonald's for an example. If McDonald's workers are making $8 an hour now, and a Big Mac combo costs $5, well, what's going to happen if the government requires McDonald's to start paying its employees $15 an hour? Okay, and the answer to this is they're going to raise the prices. That $5 Big Mac will probably be about a $10 Big Mac. Okay, so it's going to be B. Some companies would raise the price of their products.